Falcons and I should actually put Falcons versus Jaguars, right? But I think Jaguars are technically the home team. We know they already feel comfortable playing in the games over in London. So we know that uh, because they've done it more than any other team. I mean, Shad Khan, the owner, is kind of used leverage, saying, "Hey, Jacksonville, if you don't get us a stadium, we're going to go to London." Now, it looks like Jacksonville is going to finally work something out and get themselves a stadium. That's going to be great. But what they really need to do is, fix these slow starts, fix the offense more a little bit. Thomas is going to be on the Falcons here. Doubles is talking about the Bears. All these mistakes, Doubles, the Bears just keep making, right? I mean, God. Yeah, Jacksonville's been over here more, but they're a favorite here against the Atlanta Falcons, man. The Atlanta Falcons, okay, they got Desmond Ridder. I get it. But you know what? This is what you're going to get from Desmond Ridder, all right? Really a game man. Look, you know what? Do you want somebody else quarterbacking? Probably. But you got Desmond Ridder, so what are you going to do? You're just going to have to roll with him. Can the Falcons run the ball? They can run the ball with the best of them. Are the teams that are running the ball looking good? Uh, yeah, they're looking really good. They did, they ran. They had 44 yards in the game they lost, but they've had 211 games so far, 211 yards rushing so far in one game. That was impressive. I think against Jacksonville, they can, do well here as well. They just have to get off to a better start. Darren says he likes under, but he'll buy it up here or tease it up to here to a higher number there at 47. Here's the thing about these, it's almost like the primetime unders a little bit too, to a certain extent. But this field at this particular venue has really been an under over there. And this one, it just feels like a this has been the slower surface when they went over there, actually. And the Falcons have gone under in 9 of their last 11 games. So this has been, a good series for the Falcons. They've won the last 4 against Jacksonville, and they're allowing only 14 points a game to the Jaguars in those games. The Jaguars haven't beaten Atlanta in quite a while. And so for me, the Jaguars, 2 straight losses right now. They were outscored 54-26 in their last 2 games, and they got off to slow starts. Both these teams, very slow starters. Talk about some unders, under first half. Maybe these teams just can't get it going early on. The Jaguars haven't had a touchdown in either of their game for the last 2 games in the first half. The Jaguars just don't fare well against the other conference for whatever reason. So I don't know. I don't put much stock into the, all-time series thing. I just thought it was interesting to know. Remember, Jacksonville's been very, very bad, but it harkens back a little bit to, for some reason, they don't play the NFC games very, very well. To me, sometimes those stats I kind of throw out, but it stands out so much in this one. They are 7-31 against the spread against the NFC. Hi, Ferner. Oh, great. Yeah, we'll be rolling on the NBA. Great. Awesome. So I'm going to be here on the Falcons. I'm taking these points. I'm buying a hook. I'm doing whatever I can to get a little bit of something extra here, I think, in this one. But I'm gonna try the Falcons here with our man Art Smith, right? I mean, he just I like this guy. I like Falcons have been doing a pretty okay job so far. I'm not too worried about the collapse a little bit, but let's take them here plus the points. Jacksonville does not cover numbers well at all. Come on. They're also 12-24 against the spread off of a loss. And they're just not covering numbers. So this one, London games could come down to a field goal. A big game right here between the Dolphins and the Bills. This is the game of the season so far, isn't it? With the Bills and the Dolphins. We could talk about that 70s show, but everyone's talking about that. Now you're facing the Buffalo Bills. You're not going to be lucky, This is different. We know how this, series is kind of gone, right? It's all Buffalo. It's all Buffalo. They've won 8 of the last 9. Now Dolphins usually do cover the spread here, but they've been getting more points in the past than this. Almost every time. And when Buffalo's in a groove, that's really when they kind of start to pick it up. But this Dolphins team, it does feel different, right? With the genius a little bit. We started to get down on Allen, and you know what? He's come up pretty strong all of a sudden again. So maybe just needed to dial it back a little bit. Buffalo outscored their 2 opponents 75-13 over those last 2 games, and man, they've been solid on third down conversions. They get numbers at home, but man, the Dolphins off that big, it's going to be something to say, and makes it look enticing, right? With that 2.5 right there. So that's kind of the interesting thing about that is the fact that it's down under that key number now. In a series that really has been dominated by the Bills. So Dolphins are probably going to get a lot of attention at the window off of the 70-point performance. No matter what, I just don't think that's can be ignored necessarily. Now, the Dolphins 22-11 against the spread, coming off of a win. This is going to be great. And could it come down to the wire? Of course it could. But the Bills series history does seem significant to me. And look at that total, boy. 53.5. It opened 49.5 on the look ahead, but after the 70-point performance, when the line reopened, it was 53.5. It went up to 54, maybe even touched 54.5. Has since been bought back down to 53.5 here, pretty much right now. Teams they've gone over in 6 of their last 9 meetings, and I've got to go over in this one for sure. I think we're gonna have a fun afternoon, aren't we? We're gonna have some fun with this one. No reason why we can't have both teams score well into the 20s here. Have a great time. I can't be Mr. Under here. Although Buffalo, they do kind of trend under at home. 18 of their last 32, not a big deal, but nonetheless. So Miami with those big plays last week, it seemed like every time you turn around, that's not going to happen this time. That was more about Denver than it was about Miami, I think. I'm pretty sure. This Miami situation is special to a certain extent that Miami, is starting to they're for real as far as they're a contender in this series. They're in this game as a 2.5-point underdog in the game of the year. But it's still going to be a big hurdle. It's like the one you kind of got to get over if you're going to be the team, if you're going to be the man. Darren says Miami all day. Thomas on Buffalo. Ray stays with Buffalo. And when I say stay, right, because it's like we're staying with Buffalo because it hasn't necessarily turned around just yet. But like I said, Dolphins usually get the money here, but they're usually getting more points. So it was great comments on this game here, actually. I'm just doing NFL right now because I didn't do it yesterday, and it just seemed to work out better. I was on for way too long. I said I was going to do it yesterday, and by the time 2 hours, I had to get off the air. can't go on for more than 2 hours. They start to. All right. Appreciate your comments on this one. I'll take the over here with Buffalo and Miami. I don't think there's much value left in this one. Of course, if it was, that look ahead, we could all say that. It's 53.5. So I hope it goes over. Here's one that could go over, I would think, with the Vikings and the Panthers. Look, you can make fun of the Vikings all day. They definitely have a pretty good passing offense, that's for sure. But for whatever reason, they were the luckiest team last year. And what are they, the unluckiest team this year? They're just not very good. They're just bad. And again, that's what I say about the thin margins in the NFL. Is that's why teams go from first to worst a lot of times in this league. And again, it's not so much about, the equivalent of who you play. Yeah, you play a tougher schedule the next year after you've had an easy schedule. And with, when you're talking about the way the margins are. Now, look, the Vikings are kind of they opened 3.5 for the most part. But there were some shorter lines than that. And now you're up to 4. It was as high as, in fact, it's 4.5. And why, Bryce, is that because Bryce Young was announced as the quarterback? Look, I think that's the reason why last week I was on the Panthers. I said, give me, Dalton last week. It didn't even work out, but he did throw for 334 yards. I mean, he was a good fantasy quarter, but I think I had the game script right. You could have the game script right and not cover the spread, I guess, right? I said I want Dalton, but again, sometimes that is the reason why, right? If you end up doing a lot of passing or whatever the case may be. Carolina is a pretty 5-1-1 last 7 as a home underdog, and looks like Bryce Young will get the start here. It was announced yesterday that he's probable. So I would think they would go back to him here, and this looks like a fine time to do it. One of these teams is going to be 0-4. Carolina's lost by 27 points, 17 points, and 10 points so far. And they really weren't getting much done with Bryce Young at quarterback. They were better with Dalton, certainly. But who wants to trust the Vikings as a road favorite? They don't look very good at all. They don't look good, even with that offense. They're already a -7 in turnovers. So they've given up, they're giving up TDs left and right. I would think Carolina could score here. Yeah, this to me, it follows the script that I've been following to get a lot of wins right now in the NFL. Road favorite. Has been going under, but I don't think this one is. It's up to 46.5 now. I guess I've got to give it out on the show. I can't go premium. Not when it was as low as 44. And everyone's thinking the same thing. But Carolina is Vikings are going to be able to score. Carolina, I mean, they certainly would have to prove themselves here. Bryce Young wasn't necessarily doing as much. No guarantee he is a starter yet. Like I say, it's probable. I would imagine they're going back to Bryce Young. I think that's what everything is saying, too. But Kirk Cousins, I mean, maybe he puts the team into such situations, but I'm going over. I'm just going over. That's all there is to it. Even though, sometimes NFL, these road favorite unders, not a lot of handicapping to it. And I don't want to say it like that because NFL, I'm doing very, very well. And I'm not saying that's the only reason. I don't do it like that, but that's where the starting point is. So I usually look to the starting point and then, see, is it indeed the way that I want to go? And here, the starting point is look to the under first because you've got a road favorite in the NFL. But I don't think that I can do that in this game. I think I'm going over. I am going over as my play for sure. At 46 and a half for darn sure. All right. I don't trust the Vikings cover on the road right now. Anyways, the Broncos and the Bears, you guys. This is just you know Broncos gave up the 70. The Bears just are woeful. The worst team in the league, I think. Sorry to doubles. Sorry to the Chicago crew in the chat. And they know it. They know it. So Denver, remember they lost the first two games by just 3 points. So combined. And then gave up the 50-point loss to Miami. And it looked like they weren't even trying it at one point, right? I mean, look how Miami was scoring on those runs and stuff. So Denver's lost 14 of their last 17. Now they're a road favorite here by 3, even against the Bears. Coming off that's how bad the Bears are, right? I mean, the Broncos coming off the 70-point game. So it's just been bad. The Bears are allowing 35 points per game right now. They've given up 11 touchdowns already this season. So, I don't think that the Broncos can be a 3-point favorite. I mean, it just feels like this game's going to be just some ugly, low-scoring game that can get you home with taking the points at home, because it might be 18-17, or it might be 16-15, or it might be 21-20 or 19-20 or something like that, where you're still going to be able to get home on these points. Doubles is here. He is our Chicago correspondent. He says under 46. He's also got the first quarter under and the first half under. Why wouldn't this be just a total, under situation, just because of just terrible football? So I'm going to take the Bears plus 3 points. I feel like I don't know what anybody's doing at this point. I don't think anybody wants to even take a stand with these two teams. But somebody's got to take a stand here in this bad matchup. So Chicago just 4-7, their last 11 as a home underdog, and this isn't going well for Fields. I tried to back him a little bit, back when he was, when he'd move around. Why doesn't he move around? Why does he take the pocket sacks, Mr. Roboto? What's the worst they can do to you? Go take off. Go be Justin Fields. Does not want to get hit. I don't know what's going on. Russell Wilson, it's just been he's 4-14 with Denver. His career's over. Come on. It's not like he's gonna he's gonna find it or something, or his stock is gonna rise or anything like that. So who's gonna lay points with? Give me the Bears. Give me money line too. I don't care. I do care very, very much. I don't want the Broncos ever to win a game. I'm a Chargers fan, but I'm certainly going to bet on the Broncos here and there. I didn't hear Mike North's comments, but I like that, Doubles. And he, obviously, was that on his show? Or was that on national? Did he say that on a national show or on his local Chicago show? Here's the thing about what I've said about Dion that I don't. Why isn't it possible that Dion does become an NFL coach right away and coach Shedeur Sanders on a really bad team and say, hey, it's a package deal? It looks like a fun deal, right? I mean, bring him in, see if it works. There's no doubt. Lightning. You might say Dion's a lightning rod. Maybe he can't even coach. Maybe he's. We've already seen him make a mistake with the analytics. Remember when he took the ball first? Now he did say in the post-game press conference, because a lot of national gambling media was saying, well, he made a huge mistake. He did make the mistake analytically, But he did clarify his comments. He said, I wanted the ball first and I wanted to go score. Now, he may have just been saying that because once he found out all the analytics, because, back in the day when we were playing sandlot football, you always want the ball first or whatever. Right, even before the analytics, when they had certain take the ball first or whatever. But we all know now it's wrong. But he did say in the postgame comments, I want the ball first. Anyways, for whatever you want to say about Deion, no one can argue about his status in professional football as one of the best players of all time. All right, we'll take the Bears here. And interesting what Kev Cook is saying there about doubles. Mike North still. I mean, he's he's on national. That's what I'm saying. I hear him on the Vegas sports gambling, that national channel every week. So and of course, I mean, he was also kind of one of those old school cappers. Kev Cook talking about Trubisky, right? And look at that right now. Pittsburgh said, hey, we want a guy like Trubisky, because we've got Pickett. We don't know what's going on, and we might need Trubisky. And boy, wouldn't the Bears like to have a guy like Trubisky right now? And that's not even saying something. I mean, maybe he'd be no better but you might want to try something other than Fields the way it's going. And I don't want to say that. I wanted to give Fields a chance. I mean, I'm not comparing. Well, let's just see. We're going to get to the Texans game in just a moment. But, I mean, obviously, we can talk about what's going on there. All right, Bears. Bears it is for me. Bears. Ravens and Browns. Great game, right, everybody? Really good game here with these two. The Browns, man, they have a Super Bowl caliber defense. I don't think anybody can disagree with that right now. They've given up 3 points in one win. They gave up 3 points in another win. Now, they did give up, 26 points in that Steeler game. It was a night game, right? I mean, look, Thursday, what was Thursday? So whatever. Steelers had all that momentum in the division game. Cleveland's out gaining their opponents like 2 yards to 1 so far. Cleveland's like one of the best teams in the league. And there are not too many good teams left. And I think Cleveland is up there with them. They're around the bottom of the group. But, when you're talking about the Niners, the Eagles, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Dolphins, the Browns, right there. Yeah, the Ravens are pretty good too, and now they've got MVP Lamar. No, I'm not going to call him playoff Lamar, right? We're not going to call him playoff Lamar ever, and look, I'm on Watson's bandwagon here right now a little, right? It's just, it took time. It's taking time, not only rust and all that, but the pressure that he might have been playing under. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm not referring necessarily to the whole story, the incidents, and all that. But when you're trying to make but you're also dealing with all these social pressures as you try to get it going a little bit. And he's looking pretty good. He's not quite even that old Houston Texans, but he was last time, right? So things are starting to work out with him right now for sure. This total has dropped big time because, you got a division game. This Browns defense is for real. They've given up 21 first downs. And the offense is good because they can run the ball. The Browns are just playing great. Look, I think the move might be right. It opened, the look ahead was 44. It's all the way down here to 40 and a half. I might grade myself on 40 because I'm thinking I'm about to give the under here as my play. This is a home team dominated series. Ravens, they do cover division games on the road because all the games are pretty close and 3 points, kind of might be enough. I mean, Harbaugh is a road favorite's money. 14-4 last 18 against the spread. So you're gonna have to buy it down if you take the Browns, or maybe even take the money line. But I don't think I think the Browns. This feels like a kind of the shifting point a little bit. And the Ravens, the one thing, as strong as some of these numbers are, coming off a spread loss, the Ravens aren't that great. So when things aren't going, swimmingly, they can be in for kind of some tough games. So Cleveland's not very good. Cleveland doesn't play back-to-back games very well, but it just feels like all this momentum a little bit. Even the look-ahead line in this game was Ravens 1.5, and now, you see where it is. In fact, it's 2.5 at a lot of places. So, Black Hole Bully, it's nice to have you here today representing Steeler Nation. And he's going to be, of course, familiar with the North Division. He says these teams are not as good as people think. I guess I'm people. Because right now these numbers look pretty serious. You think of Stefanski, right? Some of the goals, it seems like they're, fulfilling those goals a little bit. They're starting to check off some of the boxes. So, and yeah, I hope that, because this could be, obviously a good division, especially if the Steelers can get it back going a little bit, get back to their ways, if you will. And just be the Steelers. Look, hey, they already won that game over the Browns. No problem there. Remember, they weren't really. That was a game where people kind of said, "Hey, Steelers, this is a game where they kind of need to prove themselves a little bit," and they came out like gangbusters. Kind of the way, right? Terrell, I remember that yesterday. Temple stand and I was on Temple, right? So I was. I don't know, Thomas. I don't know. I think this is a good division, right? The Browns look to be very high above average. I think is that what we're saying? All right. Anyways, let me get the under here in this one. I have I trust what's going on with the Cleveland defense. I think we get that type of uh, North Division war here. And Browns run the ball. They run the ball. So I'll take the under here in this one. Okay, and so the Steelers and the Texans now, and I think so. I'm not going to talk about Fields and kind of talk about Stroud, but I've already said and been on here talking about how the rookie quarterbacks, and I'm pro this rookie quarterback group, even with some of the tailspins of some of these guys. Like I said, you have to measure. You just don't throw them in there and say, let's win the bowl. You've got to actually measure like a rookie quarterback. Just look for some signs of progress. Well, I think Stroud, it doesn't matter. I guess he could just be terrible and go rough. But so far, Stroud's a winner for sure of all these guys, even with a 1-2 record. It just has looked pretty darn good, especially last week with the 9.3 yards per attempt, winning that game by 20 points. So the problem is, Houston, if they could just get some type of running game, that might help in a game like this against the Steel. So Houston's been a pretty good cover. I mean, getting points at home here certainly seems kind of interesting. I just think here with Pittsburgh on the, this to me is going to end up as the total's 42, and I have a feeling this is going to end up being a lower scoring game. Now, Pittsburgh has won 5 of the last 6 meetings here. But they've been outgained also by about a 2-1 margin so far this season. Now, it's going to be different here, I would think, against the Texans. Their offense is still learning and growing, and Stroud's been, like I said, he's been decent. Considering he's a rookie quarterback, he's going to be decent. He's been decent. Now, in Pittsburgh's 2-win, look, I think it's great that Pittsburgh's 2-1. I'm not saying they're necessarily down. I think they're, certainly this is overachieving. I think, kind of at this point, especially for the offense. Look, they scored 23 and 26 points in those 2 wins. Now we know the defensive touchdowns, certainly against the Browns, but that's Steeler football. They're already +4. They've been forcing takeaways. They've been forcing takeaways for sure. I don't know what the numbers are, but I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. Pittsburgh's a crummy road favorite. We know that. It's not their role. They're 3-9 in their last 12, and they haven't been a road favorite in 3. I think in the pandemic season. Since the pandemic season was the last time they were a road favorite. So that is a bit of an indication, and they are really good in tight games. When the spread is 3 points or less as a favorite, that's been their. I think when the spread is 3 points or less either way, the Steelers are great in those type of games. But for me, I'm going under here, 42 with this matchup. Rookie quarterback against the Steelers, still, no matter which way you look at it, and pick it on the road. Yeah, you have rookie quarterback and rookie coach. So the Texans have a long way to go still. But I'm going to, I'm not challenging my Pittsburgh crew here today. I hope they come in and say that I'm, was wrong in this one, that the Steelers, maybe this offense is better. It is what we're seeing so far. Pickett's 9-6. No, that's how I kind of measure quarterbacks is by wins. So I'm going to take the under here in this one, and hope this is what we get from the Steelers. Thomas is on the Steelers here. Okay. With the Rams and the Colts. Well, this kind of feels, look, the steam came in on the Rams. The game's currently a pick 'em, and the total's up to 46 here in this one. And you have the Rams, I don't know if there's much wrong with it. They've been in every game. They've led or tied in I'm thinking all 3 games in the second half. They've been in the games, but they've just not been able to convert late in the second half. They've been chokers a little bit. So, and they could not get a first down for the life of them last week. 1 and 11 on third down. So the Rams under McVay, 13-2 against the spread off of a loss. Rams under in 8 of their last 10 on the road, but they should be able to, get the ball going here, I would think, against the Colts. Now, the Colts, hopefully, Anthony Richardson, I guess he could play in this game. I hope he does. I prefer him over Minshew all of a sudden, and I want to try to find my way to the Colts. I want Richardson in the game, and I want to take the Colts. Because Minshew, like I said, Minshew to me, I guess for the Colts or maybe a couple of other teams, that if your starting quarterback went down in the fourth quarter, you need a guy to come in, maybe Gardner Minshew's okay in that spot to try to, will you to a victory. But I don't know if I necessarily want him starting the game. Mistakes happen, short fields happen. This game's going over, even with it being a pickup. I would look at this game normally and start by thinking under. But not right now, not with the Rams. I think Stafford's Puka Nacua, this is a real situation with him, and I think it's going to make other receivers there. We saw the play by by Van Jefferson, right? So I think the Rams offense can continue to improve here. I mean, when you got this combo on the road, the Rams could be they're live. I mean, this is a pickup. Like I said, I'm probably going to have to wait for the status of the quarterback to decide which way I want to go. I want the Colts. I'm going to go over in this game, even if it's Minshew. I'm probably going over because he might just make the mistakes that kind of help the total actually here get over. The Colts, look, they scored 53 points in 2 road games. The Colts, and so far the Colts have gone over in 2 of them, I think at least, right? And the road team's been winning the Colts games for sure. All right, I'm going to take the over in this one. Hoping to take the Colts with Richardson. If Minshew's in there, I'm going to have to rethink it. I'm the spot is the Colts for me. I think the spot for most sharps are the Rams. Like I said, the Rams reportedly took some steam already. So I'm going to be on the over though for sure as my free play here. Buccaneers at Saints. The Saints here are favored by a field goal, and the total is currently at, look at this, 39.5. Wow. This total got as high as 42.5. But we know without Derek Carr and Jameis Winston in there now, is that really a downgrade necessarily? And we know Winston can make mistakes. Is he any downgrade from Carr necessarily where we're at this time? It almost feels like an interchangeable part to a certain extent. Now, I'm pretty sure it's going to be. I think it's Winston, right, from what we know right now. Now, the Saints have won 8 of the last 12 in this series, but the Bucs did win them both last year. And with this being a divisional game, I mean, it just feels like it's going to be very, very close. So far, division games, they've all, the division games, road teams are 10-5 against the spread so far. I mean, almost anything worth a field goal, like something like this, is worth taking to me. Now, the Saints have been getting off to strong starts. They've outscored their opponents 29-9 in the first half so far, with some good defense, no doubt about it. And I imagine, look where this total's headed now. And part of it was on the quarterback news, and yeah, you got Baker over there with the Bucs. It's obviously not anything special here at this point, even with these teams being 2-1. There are question marks offensively with these 2 teams for sure. I'm going to have to take a field goal. That's just the way it is. Now, the Buccaneers, 8-1 against the spread, coming off of a loss, but they're forcing turnovers. To be a low score, figures to be a low-scoring game. Now, the Bucs they did play on Monday night. So far in 3 games, the Saints have allowed just 3 touchdowns on 31 drives so far, and but still, all these games are so close. The first 3 games so far, the Saints are 2-1, but the games have been decided by 5 total points. This series has gone under in 5 of the last 7 meetings here in the division, so I would think just a low-scoring game. I'm going to take the Buccaneers +3. Of course, I'm going to buy a hook on something like this. I want to win, don't I? The Saints are actually pretty heavily juiced on that 3. It's going to cost you something to take the Bucs +3.5, +4, whatever you want to do. But division game feels like a close finish to me. Close, low-scoring game in this one. Is Derek Carr good, Thomas? That's all I would add. I'm just comparing Derek Carr to Jameis Winston. That's all. And the Saints are good enough here so far to be 2-1. So this is all right. Okay, Commanders and Eagles. Look, Eagles. Well, that was a great, uh, very strong performance, certainly. And now the Eagles are going to be favored. They're up to a 9-point favorite here. But let's still call it what it is, man. This is another division, right? Another division game. I mean, I don't really have a commander. Remember, they're 2-1. They had the great comeback here. They've given up a ton of points. We know that. They probably will. They might here too. But at 9 points, this is pro football, right? It's going to be pretty hard to get me off the Commanders in this game. The Eagles have gone 9-3 straight up, the last 12 in this series. And the Eagles, what can you say? I mean, they've scored what? 85 points so far. More than that, 90 points so far. They've been running the ball well. I would think they're going to, win this game and not cover. This one could look division game, I know, but I like the total. I like the fact the total's been going down. This one. It might be a division game. I might end up on the over here, actually. The Commanders, look, Howell is not the answer for anybody. He's not the answer, I'm sure, for the Commanders, but that's who they have. Washington's been going under something fierce. They've gone under in 12 of their last 16. And the Commanders don't exactly, drive all the way down the field. I mean, they need a little defense. They need to use a little bit of field position. But, and they're not even that great as road dogs. But at 9 points, I'm going to take the Commanders here. I love the Eagle, the Eagles hype. It's all good, man. Go Eagles. They're great. And it's a pro football game. We'll be on the Commanders plus 9 points. It's going to be hard for me not to get on them here. I don't know. What do you guys say? Am I crazy? All right. Couple of comments here in this one. Not much, but appreciate it. Thanks, Thomas, as always. All right, one more day game, then I'm out of here for the day. Appreciate you sticking with me here on the Morning Steam, your first live look at sports betting on YouTube. All the shows coming up here still for the day here. We're taking a look at, this is the Bengals and the Titans in this one with the Bengals here. Do I got the time right? Yeah, this is a 10 o'clock game. What was I thinking? Obviously, bit of a move here. Bengals on the look-ahead line was as high as 4.5. Went all the way down to as low as 1.5. Now it's sitting at 2. It's sitting at 2.5. Let me update the line. 2.5 and 40.5. Bengals on the road. Bengals on the road is road favorite. You probably know what I'm already thinking there. Now, this total has gone down from an opener of a look ahead of 44, open around 41.5 or so, and now all the way down to 40.5 now. Cincinnati did play that Monday night, one of those Monday night games, and won. Burrow, he said, hey, I'm kind of going against the team's orders here, and he played in the game, and they got it done. Bengals offense has not been good this season. They only have 3 touchdowns on 32 drives. so far. It has not been going well. The Titans lost 2 games where they didn't even score a touchdown. They scored 27 in their other one. They've lost 9 of their last 10. They're kind of one of the worst teams right now going, technically. But they are 6-2 against the spread their last 8 times as a home underdog. And, the Bengals, you feel like they still need to win. Black Hole Bully is on the Bengals. And so is Ray. And so is Thomas. Wow. See, and I kind of wanted to be on the Titans here. Titans, they get off to such slow starts, but man, has this franchise really just, Cincinnati's won 7 of the last 9 meetings. The Bengals have also been covering spreads here, but these games are usually even tighter line. They're pretty tightly lined. The Titans are still 28-18-2 in their last 48 off of a loss. So I'm going to be on the Titans in this one. Plus, points at home in a division game. I'm just not sure I can pass it up. And of course, I'll be buying it up to key numbers and paying juice on it. That's the way I roll. I'm against all those guys. If this were baseball and they played it like this, I wouldn't worry about it. They play 1 time a week. I'm going to make sure I've got 3s, 3.5s, and more in my pocket if I'm playing the game. So, yeah, Tannehill has not looked great. I know what it says, Thomas. You don't worry about that. And, he's making a lot of money. He's supposed to be better than he has looked so far. Right now, the Titans should be better than they've looked over the last half of a season, for sure. They've been in the tank. They've been not performing well. So I'm going to try them here against the Bengals in a game that both teams, obviously, neither of these teams want to go 1-3 right now and be in that situation. Oh, yes, okay. Yes. Well, but he's kind of the guy that, was supposed to have resurrected this or gotten this situation together. All right, I'm on the Titans here in this one.